How's it going, everyone? I'm your host, Jose Angel Contreras, and welcome to Decoding Millennials podcast, where we educate, empower, and debunk the myths of millennials. Joining me today is Michael. He's the founder of the Millennial Entrepreneur Group. We had a great conversation about his business, about his aha moment, the millennial mindset, and why he created an online community. So let's hop on a call to get to know a little bit more about him. Thank you, Michael, for joining me today. I'm excited to have this conversation about millennials. But before we get started, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Jose. I'm excited about this conversation. So my name is Michael Marra. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I went to the University of Dayton for college, where I actually studied civil engineering. So I kind of had definitely a more conservative, career. But then once I got into working and everything, I just really felt like I wasn't living up to my potential. And we're going to get into a lot of other things because I feel like this is something that a lot of millennials are struggling with. But I'm just starting companies. I'm growing my community of entrepreneurs, and I'm just getting after it every day.
Great. So we're having this conversation about millennials, and we heard a lot of things about millennials. What do you think is a misconception about us?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot out there. I mean, we're often looked to as the generation that we've grown. We were probably the first generation that really grew up with technology. Now, the kids growing up right now are obviously growing up with way more advanced technology than we did, but we were the first ones where it was kind of, I mean, I still remember using a computer with dial-up, but I still remember using a computer, and then like my parents had cell phones, and when you were younger and you were starting to use video games and all that stuff. So there's a lot of misconceptions that results in millennials being like lazy or being kind of like distracted with technology and not either like working or putting in the time, effort, and like all the things that the previous generations have done, even though like there's more millennials than any other generation that's gone to college. There's more millennials than any other generation that's working, and we have, I think, contributed almost as much like positive to the world already than previous generations have. So yeah, there's definitely a lot.
That's true, and I feel like as though people say that we're lazy, that we're entitled, that we're job hoppers. And, I hear the whole job hoppers a lot because I feel as though when it comes to our career, whatever worked 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it's like we are okay to challenge that because we know it's not working. Especially
Right.
Working in the workforce, it's like, why are we still doing this? This is so old. Like, why even trying to do something that worked in 1980 and we're in 2017? Like, we gotta switch it up. Like, we can't do that.
Definitely. I think job hopping is actually a good thing. There's so many people that the common way to do things back in the day was you go to college, or you not even go to college, but you get a job and you work at that job for 20, 30 years, even if you don't like it, which is insane. So millennials are realizing and being rational with life in general, and are awakening to the thought of, okay, well, how is that right? Like, is that a truth? Like, is that how it should be? Like, should we do that? Because there's so many people, and you see this all the time with like baby boomers. Most of them now are getting ready to retire, but at the same time, they've put in 20, 30, 40 years into an industry that they probably it was not aligned with their passions, purpose, curiosity, like none of that. They were doing it because it was a job, it was safe, it was, what everyone else was doing. So people have this conception that work equals not fun or not enjoyable. And I think that is just, I think millennials are smashing that. And we're coming out and we're saying, no, work can equal whatever you want it to equal. You know what I mean? Work can be enjoyable, and it should be. And that's one thing that I'm trying to, teach people and show people how to integrate their passions, purpose, curiosity into a business model and make a career or a business structured around the things that, bring them joy and happiness and fulfillment. Because if you can get that right, and that's like the most important part is like the other thing too, millennials more than any other generation understand who they are, or they're starting to. And that's like more important than anything. It's once you understand who you are and the things that you enjoy and like doing, then it's way easier to structure a business and everything around that. But the older generation, even if they kind of knew who they were, they still wouldn't pursue that because it wasn't okay for them to do that. And so I don't know if it was more like, I think it was just the older generation just got it driven so much into their heads that that's how it had to be. And now millennials are just saying, no, that's not how it has to be.
So let's talk about that, because, we talk about purpose and everything. Before we get into the main topic, what was that one day or that event or that situation in your life you're like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I need to do something different. What was that?
Right. Yeah. So I was right when I was like about to finish up with school, I was just like trying to figure out, like, is this something I'm really trying to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, could I see myself doing engineering for like 20, 30 years and being okay with that? So like throughout college, like I was investing in stocks, and I was like trying to, I just kind of always thought that would be like side thing, like engineering would be my career. And then I would have a couple like side things that I would do and whatnot. And then like, I don't know if you've ever really looked into, so there's this guy named Joseph Campbell. He's like a pretty like well-known like philosopher guy, and I watched this documentary on like his philosophy and everything. And basically he studied all the like different religions and Greek mythology, and they were all like saying this one story. And you can find it in like most major movies too and stuff. It's called The Hero's Journey. And what he talks about is like everybody has like the hero within them, and like everyone is that. It's just they get like everyone is golden on the inside, but they get covered up by like dirt and like crap from, society, family, whatever. And they get all these like limiting beliefs. And it was just talking about like following your bliss and like all this stuff. And I was just like, wow, like I'm not really like following my bliss right now. Like, you know what I mean? So I graduated, I got a job back home in Pittsburgh. So it was like really set up very nicely. And then I was just working like every day, cubicle, doing like design work. And I was just, going through the motions. And then I just started digging deeper into entrepreneurship, online businesses, investing, and real estate. So I just thought that I wasn't like living up to my full potential. I wasn't, and a lot of people I see and that I talk to, they have this feeling inside of them like, I know like I'm destined for greater things, but like how do I get there? Do you know what I mean? And that's like the hardest part, because a lot of it too, the people that you're surrounded with, like your family, friends, they're not going to be the people that you need to talk to, because they're going to have those limiting beliefs just like everyone else. And that's like one of the reasons why, so when I first got into like entrepreneurship and stuff, I wanted to, because none of my friends were entrepreneurs or anything like that, I wanted to make like this little like mastermind group where we just, a couple entrepreneurs, we would just like get on the phone like every couple of weeks and kind of just talk and collaborate and bounce ideas off each other and start companies and all that. So that was like the original idea. And then I got really into real estate. And so I kind of had like two moments. The first one was like, all right, I'm not living up to my full potential. There's something more here for me than engineering.
Right.
There's something like bigger. And once that happened, then I started digging. And what came out of that was me like seeking. And I got into real estate, and I met a mentor, and I started going into that because I was like, all right, real estate is it. Like, I'm going to, put everything into real estate. I'm going to learn all about it. Like, I'm going to do real estate. And that was also a bad thing because I was mostly chasing the money. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, there's people making so much money in real estate. Like, I got to get in this. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm just trying to get this. Like, I want to be a successful real estate investor. And that was like that's not what you're supposed to do at all. Now that I realize it. But so I got into that. I moved down to Miami to start this real estate company with my mentor. And like, we were like, when I first got there, we were launching everything, and it was literally nothing could have gone worse. Like, everything was going wrong. Yeah, it was bad. So for like probably the worst time of my life, easily, like just working so much and seeing no results at all. And it was kind of like a sign, but I didn't even realize it. I just thought that was like normal.
Yeah.
Whatever, normal starting a company, which you do go through struggles when you're starting a company. And like, there's obstacles, and I still, like everyone, you come across things in your path. But when like, even when things got better, like after about like 6 to 9 months, we start closing deals, we start bringing on investors, like things start getting better. And I still didn't feel like fulfilled or like this is good. Like, I thought that once things started turning, we started making money, and we started, bringing on, big investors, and like we're closing deals. And like with real estate, things turn very quickly. Like, one deal is like pretty, like, that's a lot of money. Like, real estate's kind of like not necessarily lump sum, but unless you're doing like rentals, you make your money when you like close the deals. And once that started happening, I still didn't feel, good. Like, So I was like, wow, I'm probably not on the right direction here. So I started taking a deeper look at myself. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like understanding who you are. And I was like, man, I am not being me. Like, I'm just chasing this thing that's not even who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So once I realized that, then I was like, okay, what can I do to live up to my full potential and be myself?
There we go.
At the same time.
Yep.
And then that's when I was like, all right, there's still a lot of people I know that are struggling with like starting out as an entrepreneur and getting in that right community mindset and like having the right people around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to the group of entrepreneurs, and I'm going to start building this community up, because I know this is something that a lot of people are looking for. And so pretty much at like the beginning of this summer, like this year, I moved back home, and I just started this up, and pretty much got everything like rolling in July. And now you're in the community. Yeah. There's like over 1,000 people in the Facebook group. There's like there's like 1,500 people in the community total. And it's just, there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and the platform's developed into, a lot bigger too. Like, I'm doing a whole university and social media and all of that, but a lot of it is, so my company was originally called Millennial Entrepreneur Group. And then when I realized that real estate wasn't my thing and I needed to focus on figuring out who I was, I realized that I could brand it Me Group, because it's not so much like helping people make money and like becoming an entrepreneur. It's finding their me. It's figuring out who you are as a person. And then once you do that and like you're like at peace with who you are and what you're doing, like I could almost do any type of business with you. Do you know what I mean? There's endless amounts of things, but it's making sure it's the right one to do.
Great. So let's talk about a little bit more then. So what is a Millennial Entrepreneur Group? Like what is it all about? What does it have to offer?
It's right now it's online. Like I'm starting to do some events and things like that in the physical world, but it's mostly an online platform and community for entrepreneurs. So it's called Millennial Entrepreneur Group, but the idea isn't for just millennials to be there, because there's other like older entrepreneurs that can help mentor and coach the millennials. So, and there's younger kids too that can learn from the millennials. So I just think millennial entrepreneurs are going to change the world. And that's kind of the basis, but it's also figuring out the me in themselves, like making sure that they're doing whatever it is that they're supposed to do and is aligned with their passions and purpose. So what we do is we have the community. So we have the Facebook group right now is acting as our community, where there's awesome people in the group right now, like yourself, and everyone's just posting amazing like content to help each other. People are collaborating with each other. You can message the other entrepreneurs, and that's what it's for. The other platforms that we're setting up, we're beta testing our social media right now for entrepreneurs. So what we're doing is, instead of like trying to scan like Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever for entrepreneurs to like connect with, we're just making a platform where there's only entrepreneurs or like ambitious and like-minded people. So instead of having to like search for it, there's just this platform where there's only entrepreneurs and people interested in entrepreneurship, or mentors and coaches. So it's super easy to find people to help you on your journey as an entrepreneur, or just to discover for like self-discovery. Because a lot of what we're doing too is to help people with their like inner game and helping them get on the right track that way as well. And because that's just as important as any other, anything else. And then aside from that, we have the e-learning platform, Me University, where we're starting to come out with courses and really like a lot of in-depth content. So the first course that I set up was start a business in one day. So I want to like smash the myth that it takes a long time to start a business. Now, it takes time to build a business, but I don't want people to waste time starting it. So a lot of people get caught up with trying to have the perfect logo or the perfect name or the perfect website and all this stuff. And it's like, no, just like start it, create it, get it going. Because even if you spend a year like making sure everything's correct, you have the good logo, you have the good website, your social media accounts are built up and all this stuff, even when you launch, there's probably not going to be a lot of people coming to your website. And now you've waited a year and you don't have anyone on your email list. So why don't we just set everything up? It doesn't the course, I actually start a bit like you see me literally like set up the business. And if you have all that set up, you feel so excited about it. And now you have something to share with people as you're growing it. You have the ability to adapt and to change things, because even if you wait a year to launch your website, you're going to change things on your website. Like it's dynamic. So it's constantly changing. So why not change with it and grow with it? So I just want people to really like focus on getting it set up. And depending on what industry that they're in, like a lot of what we're doing now is mostly geared towards online businesses. So there's like 25 businesses that we've laid out that people can start in one day. Like they can get it set up. And it's an online business, so they can do it from anywhere.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, just to create, because like when I first started my podcast, I wasn't a pro at everything, but the cool thing is that when you create, people can see how you evolve, like over the years, the months, or whatever. I'm like, that shows how you've much grown over the years, and how you're okay to accept failure and move forward.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things too. Like when you have conversations with people via even email or, Instagram or like, just Facebook, and they grow with you. You know what I mean? You start to build a community, which is very important. So I'm building my own community, but one thing that I like try to get through to everyone that I either coach or like is in our, programs and everything is you want to build your own community. So, and everyone can have their own community because every person's different. So everyone brings something to the table. And when you have a community, like, and it could be whatever, you know what I mean? Like, depending on what industry you're in. But it's so important to have a community because you have a strong group of people that, know who you are, what you're doing, and know all the value that you're giving them, you know what I mean, and sharing. So you want like now everything is about giving and like adding value. Like there's a different way to do business now. Like
that's true.
A lot of businesses, and I talk about this a lot, like most of the businesses that have been around for a long time, if they don't understand how to do business online and communicate with people online and make it things easy for them to do online and buy things online, they're going to be out of business in like 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be new companies that are going to come in, understand that way better, and like overtake them, that's not bad at all. That's just how things evolve and how business translates. But there's so many people that just don't understand how to do things quickly. And like just I don't know, it's tough because a lot of people, and it's mostly the older people, they just don't like to change. They think that, oh, I've been doing this the same way for 20 years and my business has been fine. Like, why can't I just keep doing it? It's like, no, you can't do that.
and I'm glad that you mentioned the whole generation. Other generations can come into this group because some other like Generation Z or baby boomers might look at it and be like, oh, I don't belong there. But I think it's important to express that, hey, you can't, because at the end of the day, we all had to work together.
Right.
And then have you had any instances where like someone asked from a different generation asked to be part of the group?
Yeah. There's people all the time like, hey, I'm not a millennial. Like, I don't know if that is whatever. And I'm just like, no, like, as long as your mindset is good and like you can add value to the community, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'm all about it because it's not just like I just want millennials in my group.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the majority of people in my community are millennials. However, older people, if their mindset is correct with millennial thinking and the new way of just living and like self-development and that, I want them in the community as well because they have the right mindset and they have wisdom and experience to translate. I'm not knocking like older people. It's just there's a lot of older people that have terrible mindsets. That's and true. They don't adapt and change. They don't fix their beliefs that are wrong, like clearly wrong. They don't fix, like they don't see that. And that's like the main problem with like with the older generation, and they see millennials who change on a dime, like, and they think that's a bad thing. It's like, no, like, you're supposed to constantly be experimenting, trying new things, figuring out, life,
Yeah,
and,
you're right.
figuring out what is best for you as the person you are. So like job hopping, like change, like when different styles, different hairdos, different clothes, different whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's all, they're just figuring out, what they like best, and like trying new things. So I don't think it's bad at all. Yeah.
I agree. And as millennials, we want to create our own path, and some of us don't know where to start. Were there
Yes.
specific questions that you asked yourself before you left your job and started this group?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. You know what I mean? Most people are constantly having these inner conversations with themselves. Like, I mean, whenever you get up and you're just like dreading going to work, and that, I mean, that's where I was. Like, and a lot of people face this. Do you know what I mean? It's you you have these conversations with yourself, just like, ah, man, I don't want to do this. Like, I really just don't want to do this. I'm not enjoying it while I'm there. Like, all of that. And you know what I mean? So whenever you get into that state of being, whenever you aren't enjoying like 80% of your life, literally, because that's what a lot of people do, when they're in a career that's not fulfilling to them. So there's questions that you should constantly be asking yourself, like, and there's questions that I ask myself all the time. You know what I mean? Is this, like, am I still doing, like, is my vision and, like, is all that still clear? And like now it's been more clear than ever. Before I was like, I'm gonna make money in real estate, and like I didn't really know. Like, first it was, I'm gonna go to college and be an engineer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I am an engineer, don't like this. I'm gonna get into real estate. Okay, don't, like, this isn't me, you know what I mean? So I need to find something else. And now it's like very clear, like I know this is like the direction I need to go, but it's still, there's still subtleties. Like, I'm still constantly changing my goals and my plans and all of that. Like, I think it's very hard for people to have really specific goals, because it should constantly be changing. Like, your vision and like the impact and stuff that you want to have should be the same, or very similar. But you want to constantly be asking yourself, all right, is my end game still the same? Like, is this still what I want to do? Am I still following my bliss? Am I still doing something every day to move me closer to what I want? And is that what I really want? Am I being myself every single day? Is this who I am?
Yeah.
Like, am I being in my passions? Am I following my purpose? Am I being curious every day? Am I in flow constantly? Am I, in this state where I'm like, it's a challenge and exciting at the same time? And that's, I think, so challenge is an interesting word, because when something's challenging, or you're facing a challenge, it's hard, but at the same time it's exciting,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want things to be easy,
Yeah.
because when something's easy, like when it's done, you're just like, okay, that was easy. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Whatever. You want things to be pretty hard.
Exactly.
There shouldn't be a lot of friction. When you're facing friction and like you're hitting your head against the wall, that's when you should change things up. So, for example, like, people talk about, whenever you're starting a company, how do you know when to quit, or how do you know when to stop doing something because you're facing challenges or struggles or obstacles? Because there's two different types. There's the challenges and obstacles that are still in line with like your end goal, and you just have to overcome these things. Or there's like friction and challenges where you're going through them and you're like, like I'm not really enjoying this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even when I get that result, like you're not enjoying it at the end.
That's true. I agree. Because there's so many people out there just like they're stuck, don't know where to go, want to do something else, or are afraid that to change their career. But at the end of the day, it's okay to have that. And I'm glad that you have this group because we all have that same mindset, and we all been there before where we just don't know what to do. We hit a career crisis. We thought we're supposed to be one thing, but now we're thinking about something else because we got exposed to a different field and different environment, but not sure how to tap into that. But with this group, you're able to, with this platform, these people in the group are able to ask questions, connect with people, network with people from different states, and I think that, for all the millennials out there, make sure that you plug into this group because a lot of us have that entrepreneur spirit, or some of us don't even have that in our family, but you're the first one in the family to even do that, and it's okay. But that's what's important to be part of in a community, to learn from everybody else and to grow and to live the life you want. We're going to be working for a good 30 years or whatever. Might as well do something that you love at the end. So
Yeah.
Michael, I'm very happy that you have this group, you created this group. Before I let you go, is there what's your contact information so people get in contact with you and also get in contact with the Millennial group?
Sure. Yeah. So I appreciate what you just said there, because that's like at the core what we're doing. We're trying to bring people into a community. They have this like thought that like, all right, I need to do something greater. And it's getting people in a community with other like-minded people who also think like that, and also surrounding them with like mentors and coaches that can help like elevate them to their next level. And you hinted on this too. One of the most important things is getting people's questions answered. So when I was like first starting out as an entrepreneur, I had a million questions and like I couldn't get them answered. Like you can't ask your friends and family these types of questions because they just don't get it. And it's hard. Like even now, like I can talk to like my family and friends about it, but they still don't get it. A lot of my friends still think I should get an engineering job, like, or, whatever, even though things are, working out. It's just like, it's insane. Whenever you step up to a different level, people try to bring you back down because that's who you are in their life. So it's different. I'm sure you faced the same thing whenever you were starting your podcast. People were like, man, like, are you sure you want to do that? Or like, make sure that you do whatever. You know what I mean? Like people, it's weird because like the same people that will like congratulate you on your successes are the same people that are like skeptical of you going to that next level because they want you to be at their level. So whenever you step your game up, you're gonna get people to want you to stay where you are because that's who you are in their life. But be the person that you want to be in your own life. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick. But yeah, so the best way to like get involved with all this stuff is if you just go to megroup.tv, it's just like a little, you'll get it as long as you just put in your information, you'll get in, and then the next page after that, you'll get access to the Facebook group. You'll be able to like beta test the social media platform. You'll get the free ebook on how to start a business in one day. And then on there, you'll just be able to connect with everyone else. If you guys want to shoot me an email or whatever, my email is michael@millennialentrepreneur.com. And then like once you get into the Facebook group, like you guys can message me. You can reach out to all the other entrepreneurs in there. We have some amazing people. There's a lot of cool things going on. And then we have so much more coming. Like the university, we're trying to turn it into kind of like Netflix for entrepreneurs, where like there's new stuff added all the time. You can watch as many courses and information as you want. And then we're also implementing like masterminds, live webinars. We're doing like coaching within there so people can get that one-on-one help. And it's just going to be awesome. And I mean, the main thing that we're doing is trying to give entrepreneurs, new, young and growing entrepreneurs, like everything that they need to help them like get on the right path to success, to help them get on their journey and like start businesses. And yeah, man. So it was great talking to you, Jose. I really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate everything Michael is doing for the group. So if you are a millennial and an entrepreneur, I highly suggest joining the group. Why? Because there's so much value in other millennial leaders who can help you step your game up. You cannot make it alone, and being part of a community brings collaboration and new ideas. That's all I have for you today. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, Decoding Millennials, on iTunes and Stitcher. And follow me on Instagram at DM_podcast. Once again, thank you all for tuning in and stay tuned for the next episode.